Okay, so we just talked about the 5 traits of closers. Okay, so now we want to go into a couple different ways of how you can close people. The first one is going to be a 4-question close. So each question is going to kind of build on each other. Okay, so the first question you're going to ask is, you've kind of been going through a little bit of a journey. You know, we've been talking about this recruiting journey, a little bit of journey with them. You've been finding them, you've been building this relationship, you've been inviting them. Maybe they've seen some of the presenting tools. Okay, so based on everything that you've seen, approximately, or how much would you want to make on a part-time effort that you would want to make a month that would be worth your while? So something along those lines. We've got scripting for this in the scripting tool, so don't worry. But something along those lines, like, okay, based off everything that you've seen, how much do you want to make a month on a part-time basis? Okay, so this question is really important, not to give them anything in return. Do you want to make 1,000? Do you want to make 10,000? Do you want to make 5? Just be quiet and listen. Okay, it's really important just to let them talk and think. If they give you some sort of answer in return, kind of like, I don't really know, like, maybe, you know, I don't know. Just like, it's really important any type of sales process to make sure you're always getting some sort of answer in return, okay? So if they say, I don't know, hey, yeah, I can see why that'd be a little bit hard to kind of think on the spot, but like really, like what do you think? Like what do you think would really make your worth your while to make some money out of this, okay? You get some sort of answer. Let's just say $2,000 a month. Awesome. Oh, perfect. That's an awesome goal. So give them a little compliment, praise them a little bit. That's an awesome goal. Second question is, okay, about how many hours are you willing to put in a month in order to achieve this goal? Okay, maybe I'm some sort of answer. Maybe I'm willing to put in 10 to 15 hours. Perfect, awesome, that's awesome. I definitely think you can do that. Third question is, okay, approximately how many months do you think you could commit to these hours in order to make this type of income? So this question is really cool because it gets them to start thinking and kind of getting them in the moment and kind of like in the reality or like in the story of like, hey, if I'm going to making $2,000 a month, really how many hours, like at this 10 to 15 hours, am I really going to be willing to commit to? Okay, probably, I don't know, 3 to 6 months. Okay, so you're saying maybe 6 months. Do you think it'd be 6 months? Yeah, I think I'm willing to commit to that. Okay, awesome, perfect. The fourth question wraps them all up again. So you can kind of see how each question is evolving and kind of building on each other. So the fourth question is, okay, so if I were willing to give you a system or some sort of game plan that we can work on together, because obviously I'm on your side here, right? I want to help you become, very successful. So about how many, do you think with those many hours that you're willing to commit to at that many months and that type of income, would you be willing to get started now? Be quiet, see what they say. Okay, just let them talk. So if they say yes, or they give you a positive reaction, okay, awesome, perfect. Oh my gosh, I'm super excited. Obviously, you want to show some excitement, show some emotion, okay? They're willing to, they want to get started on your team. So pull out a game plan and start working through them. Say, okay, hey, let's get you to start signing up and making some jewelry right now. Let's work out a plan. Okay, that means if you want to make $2,000 a month, let's see how much jewelry you need to be making a month in order to get there. And let's make some milestones in order for you to get there. Perfect, awesome, that makes sense, right? So some things to make sure you keep in mind before I get into the 2 different ways of closing is, first of all, is if you get sometimes you might get some unrealistic kind of answers. Like, let's just say, hey, I want to make $10,000 a month and I'm only willing to put in 2 hours a week for only a couple months. Hey, answer them. Just say, hey, you know what? That's super awesome. I love your high goals. I love that. I can tell that you're a big thinker and you have a big appetite, and I love it. But just letting you know, those numbers are a little bit unrealistic, that you won't be able to make that type of money with those hours that you're putting into this company. So if you're willing to change those hours and the months and the hours that you're willing to put in, hey, I'm here and I'm willing to work with you, okay? The second way that I want to get into is a really easy close. It's a really easy way in order to get into it, okay? So again, we've gone through this recruiting process, and you've invited them, you've gone through some presenting tools, you've given it, okay, based on everything that you've heard here, on a scale of 1 to 10, how interested are you in getting started? And again, quiet, don't talk. And this could be in person, this could be on a phone call, this could be on a text. Don't give them any answers. Let them talk. Okay? So if they say some number like a 7, or even if they say we know that even if you get a 2 or a 3, there's still a possibility. Okay? So just work with them, whatever that. Oh my gosh, awesome, perfect. And the second question here is, awesome, if they're at a 6 or a 7, perfect. What would get you at a 10? What would you need to know, or what would you need to get in place in order to get you a 10 so we can get you started here? So you see how that kind of builds on it? You're kind of seeing where they're at, and see what else you need to do to help cultivate them to get to that 10, because you want them at a 10, you want them committed, you want them to get ready to get started, okay? So the third method is another one that's really easy, that along this process, a lot of times us as like maybe like paparazzi consultants, or even just like people that are like in like maybe a little bit of the sales world, we feel like we have to give them all this information, everything and anything. You don't have to. Some people just need a few different little information and little tidbits in order for them to get started. So along this journey, you might be only like giving them one presenting tool, and this is the question you need to ask. The third one is just like, everything on everything that you've heard so far, is there anything else you need to know in order to get started now? It's fact finding. Just figure out where they're at. No, I don't know enough yet. Okay, perfect. What else would you like to know in order for me to help you get started? Do you see what that is? You see exactly where they're at, and you know exactly where you need to get going. Instead of this assumptive, you're kind of like, you have no idea where they're at. Okay, I need to unload and just information overload, just throw up on them with everything and anything about paparazzi. No, people don't need to know everything and anything about a product in order to get started. So for example, like if you were to sign up for an Ivy League school, do you need to know every little single thing about that school in order to get started? Like Harvard? No, absolutely not. You don't need to go into every single classroom at the university. You don't need to know every single professor in order to get started. You need to know that it's a good school. You can get some good education and whatever things you need to know in order to get started. Same sort of thing here, okay? You don't need to know, you don't need them to know every single thing. So hopefully these ways will be able to help you. And again, these are in the scripting tool, so you can be able to use that. And again, you don't have to use these words verbatim of what we have. Use them and see what works for you and mold it into whatever works best for you and your personality. So hopefully this helps, and we're excited for you to get there. We're excited for you to get to that core rank goal for it with you. And remember, always love your life.